Hey, so in this video, we're going to be looking at how to implement the GeoTarget stacks. And if you don't know what GeoTarget is, essentially, this allows you to customize your content based on the location of your website visitors. So in this example here, we have GeoCountry, and it allows us to define a list of countries, either by country code or country name. We also have a special case for the EU. For those in the EU, we can say if the country is in the European Union. Basically, if they're in the Union, display this, else display something else, right? So super simple. Again, you can also define a custom list of things. So let's say I want to do like the US, Canada, and Mexico. So if I just do the 2-digit codes for each country, you can define a multiple lists of countries. And basically, if the person's location is in any of these countries, the contents in the top will be displayed. If they're not in those countries, the content in the bottom will be displayed. Super easy. Next is for preview. If you want to test, different IP addresses and things of that nature, you can go ahead and put your own custom IP address in here, and it will use that inside preview. Next, you can force the mismatch. So if you want to testing what things look like if it is unmatched, you can go ahead and click force mismatch. And then inside preview, it will force the else content to be displayed. And next up, if you're having some caching things, so basically if you change some IP address, and whatnot, and you notice that some of your session cache is still there, go ahead and say clear session cache. And that's something that will just make sure it forces a reload of the logic in your session. So that's all just inside preview though. So if we look at all the stacks available, we have a GeoCountry, which again allows us to check whether or not we are in a particular country. We also have state, and this allows us to do codes of either states or provinces within your country. So you can either do the name or province name or the standardized 2-digit character code for your state or province. We have GeoCity, which allows us to do either city name or postal code. Now, a little bit of caveats with cities is obviously those aren't necessarily going to always be super accurate because of where ISPs are and where, my particular IP address maps to the city next to mine. So just be careful with that. You might want to make sure you provide a list of cities so that you can actually target an area rather than just a single city, okay? And next is GeoCloudflare. And GeoCloudflare it requires that you actually are using Cloudflare, and it's kind of a replacement to GeoCountry. So it just basically uses Cloudflare's built-in database so that, you don't have to actually, utilize GeoCountry's database. Which brings me to the next feature of GeoTarget is that all of this happens without using any external services. GeoTarget uploads its own database that we will make sure we keep up to date via stack updates. And essentially, it will always check and look up an IP address locally on your server. There is no connections that ever leave your server whatsoever. So this is a great new feature of this version of GeoTarget. And lastly, we have a GeoInfo stack, which is kind of here for mostly testing purposes. It just basically gives you the information about the particular connection. So you can add this to the page. And if you visit this web page, it'll kind of tell you the IP address and the city, country, state information that it finds based on the IP address.